this morning.
All right. Well, we'll try and get a little bit more professional moving forward here. So, what's up, guys? Oh, Brian and Lance in the booth waiting on Nick to join for the three-man booth for today's Grand Prix here at SRL Season 9, Round 16, F1 2023 on the PlayStation platform. I am back for today, possibly for the Singapore Grand Prix, but Brian is still your main man in the booth as we head into today's race. And Brian, we got a lot to talk about heading into this race.
Yeah, so Max Mulder, the man who every Saturday morning says, today I'm going to win, he's decided it's his swan song. Spa's his last race in SRL for now. I feel like a lot of drivers have retired from SRL only to come back, maybe when a game's been improved, maybe for other reasons. Samuel Brandt has returned, Danish driver. Lewis Marshall full-time. And the only other American, besides you and me, has decided to sit out for a little bit. Penalty at Jeddah. And he's just going to take some time to cool off. He is second in the Drivers' Championship. But that just means Jensen Randall is going to pull away a little bit more.
Yes, Jensen Randall, a.k.a. Jensen Hamilton, 90-point lead in the standings over Logan Aron. Unfortunately, Logan got a little bit of a hot-headed altercation on the track with Nicolo Falzaresi at Jeddah, caused him to have a penalty that he then carried over into real life and decided he was going to not participate for the foreseeable future moving forward. So to get his replacement, we've got Sam Brandt coming back into SRL after a 2-year absence. So good for Sam to come back and join the fray. And as you said, Max Mulder, who's been a part of SRL for a number of seasons now, is going to be stepping aside as well. So too bad for that. Max, not as good an F1 driver as he was the sports car driver. He did have a GT3 championship in the Project Cars 2. He also won the Snowball Derby a couple of years ago in the rally and the Blizzard that we did, but unfortunately Max will be stepping away for the foreseeable future as well. But nonetheless, we still got, 17 drivers going to be qualifying today?
It's going to be a pretty packed grid. I don't know that we've had a round yet where it's been 20, but we've gotten very close. But we do have a lot of full-time drivers, which is always nice. We've got people with lots of points to gain here, and we've got my favorite track on the calendar, frankly. It's Spa, one of the most famous tracks, one of the longest laps we're going to have. And I've been practicing my French for the various parts of the track we're going to see today.
Yeah, and 17 drivers. And as you said, Belgium, Spa, good old-fashioned OG F1 track, if you will. Obviously, it's a racer's favorite. It seems to be a player's favorite, if you will. Old school layout, not a lot of runoff, a lot of room for mistakes. Looks like we're getting ready to kick off here in this 18-minute short qualifying session for round 16. And we'll run down the driver lineup once we get in there and see who all is going to be out on track today. That, and I don't know everybody's names yet. There's a couple of new guys here that I'm not completely familiar with.
It's all right. We've got new drivers to you. Most likely would be Bob Bune, Dutch driver, who came on a few rounds ago, and the Red Bull Eric Elgersma. At least he had been Red Bull previously. Some strong outings from him. The Spaniard Noel Razo Abia, also just the mid-pack, upper mid-pack has been very competitive all season. And then looking up and down the grid, I think you'd be familiar with many of those names. Alexei Koivuniemi there, changed his handle, Zero AK in the Aston Martin. Rookie driver, sensation really, Jamie Yearstrom, just some bad luck between him and some podium finishes this season. But one of my favorite drivers to watch.
And obviously we have the points leader, Jensen Randall, as I like to call him, Jensen Hamilton from the hybrid era.
Oh boy.
We've got rain in qualifying, so that'll be interesting. Not sure that that's going to run into the race, but rain is always the great equalizer, as they say. So 18-minute short qualifying session kicking off, and this rain might have caught some of these guys off guard. Nobody heading out on the track just yet. But
Well,
let's
it's
see.
something we've been waiting on all season is a rainy race. I don't know that we've had too much. I think Hungary we might have had a little bit. Looking back, I think maybe the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort, there might have been some, but nothing where we've had standing puddles and real race strategy come into play. And as always, first on the track, the Aston Martin of Alexei Koivuniemi, Finnish driver. We'll go on board through Radion here. About 1.2 miles of flat out action here into Kemmel. And there's Americans in the booth. We're going to be speaking in miles today. I have no idea what a kilometer is.
A kilometer is 62 hundredths of a mile, and I'm not willing to do the math to tell you exactly how long that is.
Around Lacombe here into Brussels. Tricky braking point here, downhill, almost a double apex, and in the rain. Traction going to be at a premium.
Ironically enough, even though Nick Van Gelder isn't here in the booth with us, hopefully he'll join us here in a little bit. This is where I was introduced to Nick Van Gelder, was actually at this track back in season 3. And he put on quite a display that race. Became the resident Ken Block with his drifting skills, and it was quite a show to watch. And then he obviously season 4 champion as we ride along with Oleski on his outlap. And I am still trying to figure out how to work everything.
That's all right. Into Blanchimont here. Again, another flat out section. A nice overtaking opportunity coming up here before the famous bus stop chicane. And nearly 4.4 miles around Spa, but a lot of flat out sections, a lot of high speed. So not too long of a lap on the timing table. We'll see if Alexei is going to get a qualifying lap underway, or if it's just checking the setup here. Definitely looks like Inter-type conditions out there as he goes a little bit wide, losing traction.
Then we'll run on the downhill with him, jumping on board as he heads through Eau Rouge and up into the Camel Straight. On top of Radion, little touch and go there.
Yeah,
and
the
now
back
you're
end
full
is
bore.
getting loose here for Koivuniemi so far.
You're seeing a lot of caution flags fly in Sector 2. Looks like a couple of quick on-offs. Caution flag in Sector 3. But right now we're riding on board with Oleski.
It's got traffic in front of him too. I think it's an Alpine, perhaps of Max Mulder. Well, that's all that issue. Max Mulder has left the session, so no more traffic for Koivuniemi to deal with here.
And he is not sure if that's an internet issue or if it's by design, but Max Mulder out of the way. So Oleski going to continue and trekking on here as he heads out of Sector 2 and into Sector 3. And under dry conditions, you'd be coming out of this corner and you'd stay flat all the way down to the bus stop.
Yeah, it could definitely be a little tricky here, and you know, parts of this straight will dry out too. So especially if the conditions change, you might see drivers taking an odd line here to preserve tires. And Alexei will set the pace here. He's going to cross. It's going to be close to about a 149, 150, I think. That's right. Start finish always further down than I think. 152, almost even for him.
We'll pick up Jamie Jägerstrom. Looks like he's heading into Sector 3 as he's heading down the long runway. Be heading towards the bus stop. He'll be the second one, I think, to set a time.
Well, you check that around turns 15, 16. We've got a long train of cars.
Yeah, surprisingly, a lot of traffic as Nicolo Falzaresi just set the fastest lap at a 151.766. Free Abile 152.397. Jägerstrom now goes third quickest with a 152.238. And Dion Stahl 153.671. Fastest lap, Jensen Randall with a 158.53. He's the first driver to crack into the 150s, 0.9 of a second faster than Falzaresi.
And you know, Let's get some. I assume everyone's on the inters. Of course they are, but the way Jensen found an extra second there made me wonder.
And Ivan Brito, 154.606.
The AlphaTauri of Lewis Marshall, full-time driver, back in SRL. Looks like an invalidation. A little hop there through Eau Rouge.
And Lewis invalidates his lap time, unfortunately.
Italian Vincenzo Torre here through Kemmel.
Oh, Vincenzo in the Mercedes. He was in the Sauber the last time I saw him. Oh, and he has a spin.
Boy.
And he bends it into the... Oh, and he's broken the front suspension.
Wow.
Vincenzo is done. I didn't think he hit the wall that hard, but he is done and out of qualifying.
Apologies, Vincenzo. That's a classic commentator's curse.
Yes, indeed. So it looks like Max Mulder is back out on track. He's on an out lap here in the Alpine. We'll pick him up and see if he can maybe set some sort of time. We've got Sandro Dulius is on an out lap, and Senna in the Haas.
That's right. Another American, so we both agree it's pronounced Haas. No Haas in this booth.
Well... Let the Americans pronounce the American stuff correctly. We'll screw up the rest of it. So Senna Hayware is starting his first timed lap down the hill into Eau Rouge, up the hill to Radion. Very touch and go again off the throttle. See if he can get a good run down the Kemmel Straight. And again, a lot of caution flags flying, sectors 2 and 3. A lot of guys having some quick on-offs.
Yeah, I think Blanchimont really getting a lot of folks. Normally it's an easy flat out, but you might need a slight lift here in these conditions. And around Brussels here, I think this is going to be, if it stays wet for the race, that little Brussels curve is going to catch a lot of folks off guard.
Well, it's downhill too, so the cars have a tendency to understeer under power when coming out of the corner anyways, and the rain is just going to exacerbate that. As you see, Senna is really pushing the limits on some of the outside of these curbs.
I'm impressed. I think Senna he's going for it here. He's really, as you say, he's getting as much of the track width as he can get here, and he's keeping it together so far.
And he's gone purple sector 2. So Senna on a little bit of a run here in the Haas.
He gets through Blanchimont unimpeded, unlike some of the other drivers so far.
Well, it kind of was interesting to see that he downshifted and kept it to the floor. A lot of guys have been bailing out on the power and keeping it in 8th, so a little bit of a different take on that. Going to come across the line 12th quickest, 154.662. Good qualifying effort for Senna here in the Haas. I'm going to pick up Ivan Brito in the other Mercedes. He's getting ready to come down into the bus stop. Actually, I take that back. Not in the bus stop.
Another purple sector. I wonder if track evolution is in play here early. It doesn't look like it's gotten any drier, but that's sector 2. There's time gained there for drivers recently.
Yeah, it looks like Nick Van Gelder has joined the session officially, so which means Nick should be joining us here in the booth here momentarily. Nick, unfortunately, race suspension due to too many penalty points. And unfortunately for the Season 4 champ, that has become a norm over the past number of seasons. I always seem to have Nick with me for at least one race per season due to circumstances such as that. Ivan Brito does come across the line at a 152.667. And there is our driver analyst, Nick Van Gelder, right on time.
Hello, everyone. Good day. And yeah, apologies for being slightly late, but I see qualifying is still underway with about 8 minutes remaining. So yeah, good to join you guys here in the booth. And well, three commentators. Let's hope that Oh, as I speak, Neil Snell, I think, has crashed out, hasn't he?
I need to. It's like as soon as I highlight someone we haven't really focused on yet, they send it into the wall and the tire pops off. So
Well,
apologies to Dion Stahl. And
it's the classic commentator's curse, isn't it?
exactly, it's and there's three of us today, so that's three times as many curses
Yeah,
for
exactly.
our
I was about to
drivers.
say that. Well, it's good to be there. Unfortunately, I'm not on the track, which I would have loved, but yeah, I have to sit out this one after an incident at Jeddah. So it is also nice to join you guys. It is one of my favorite tracks here at Spa, but you know, it's also a track which always brings up some good races. So let's hope we're going to see that today.
And we actually talked about that a little bit earlier, as my introduction to you for SRL was at this track.
Yeah.
And Sam Brandt is now retired from the session. Sam Brandt set a time of a 2:17.649, so he's not necessarily knocking the rust off with that time and a retirement.
Well, unless he's looking for some sort of last to first challenge and was just testing setup, yeah, there will be work to do. He's got time to rejoin, maybe, and get back out there, but it's such a long outlap at Spa that it's going to be pushing it.
And I am currently watching Eric. I don't know his last name here in the Red Bull, so that's got to be. I'm sorry,
Try and
what?
pronounce that one. It's Erik Elgersma, but make of them what you will.
Years from in the Williams, another purple sector too, so.
Maybe we could try saying Elgersma or something.
Jensen Randall approves upon his time, 1:52.39, finds another 0.6 of a second, and we're getting ready to watch Jamie come across the line, see what kind of time he can set, see if he'll improve, and he jumps up to fourth, a 1:51.770.
Yeah, very good lap from Jensen at 1:50.2, 8 tenths clear of the rest of the field. But Eric's second name is actually Simon. That might be slightly easier to pronounce. We'll just call him Eric Simon. But yeah, it was similar conditions, wasn't it, in season 3 when I made my return to SRL. But yeah, unfortunately, Sam with a 2:17, I'm sure he can do better than that. But he's actually returning to his team he was with in season 1 as well, Red Bull. Before I joined the team, it was actually Sam who was in that team in the very first season. So good to see him back here in SRL.
It may have been his first team, but he will always be associated with Haas for being such a long-time driver for that team.
Yeah.
And the same can be said for Logan Arand. Logan obviously going to be, even though he's not with us now, will always be associated with Haas. Really, the ironic part with Logan is throughout the course of his online career with IRL and some of the other online racing leagues, he always drove the Haas. He was always the American in the American car. And he's won multiple championships from other leagues, but it's a shame to see that he is letting his frustrations get the better of him and sitting out for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, exactly. I really didn't expect Logan to actually drop out of the league after that incident in Jeddah. Because, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you've already touched on it, but he got a penalty for a safety car restart where he bumped into Nicola Valtteri twice. It probably wasn't intentional, but, you know, the second one, it was pretty, you know, clear from Nicola's point of view that he couldn't really go anywhere. You could say that he shouldn't have been there in the first place, but, you know, Logan got the penalty for compromising Nicola Valtteri's race, and yeah, he was so frustrated by that, and he just didn't agree with it to the extent that he was just kind of fed up and decided to completely leave the league altogether, which I don't think many people would have expected, because he is still second in the championship and was still, you know, having a pretty good season, and even slightly challenging Jensen. At least in the championship, but even in a couple of races, you know, Logan is a very, very fast driver who's able to fight for race wins, like he did in Jeddah, where I actually crossed the line in first.
Well, and that brings up a... go ahead.
Eric Elgersma up to P4 with the 151.3, and Nicolo Falzaresi, the second driver to crack into 150s, but Lance, go for it.
Well, I was going to say, to, you know, double on top of Nick's point, you know, the interesting here is that me and Nick are both on the stewards panel, you know, analyzing that penalty. Nick, obviously, from a driver standpoint, me from, you know, observational standpoint. And I think the interesting thing about that whole scenario, Nick brings up that Falzaresi's car shouldn't have been there to begin with. And yes, the first contact was definitely incidental. The second contact was definitely like, a shoulder check, like, what are you doing here? Get out of the way. It was under caution. And I think that's
Yeah.
where the lines blur a little bit with SRL and some of the online players, where SRL, for lack of a better term, takes itself a little bit more seriously as far as an online league goes and try to produce the same type of racing you would see in actual F1, where obviously driver would not get away with doing a shoulder check under any circumstance. Where I think from Logan's standpoint, he still has the mentality that it is a video game, and Falzaresi, one, he shouldn't have been there. Two, he was still there for an extended period of time, long enough for Logan to be like, hey, get out of here. And I think that's where the frustration is for Logan, is that he's looking at it from a video game standpoint, whereas SRL, the governing body, is looking at it from a more realistic standpoint. And we can't allow that type of contact to happen regardless of the situation.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think you're dead right on that one. I think, yeah, Logan indeed, he sort of has his own perspective and sometimes struggles to see a different perspective, and I think you made a good point there. That SRL kind of uses a penalty system and a way of looking at things similar to what a real life motorsport series would, whereas indeed Logan maybe doesn't take it that seriously and thinks that things like that are ridiculous.
And I'm riding on board with Sandro, who just went for an off-road excursion here on an outlap and basically invalidated his outlap. I don't even know if that's possible.
Well, with less than a minute left.
For his actual lap.
I don't know that he's going to get to start finish.
Yeah,
I think that's what he's trying to do. I think he was cutting the chicane to try and make up time.
Probably, yeah. It's going to be pretty close. I think he'll just about make it still. But he's going to pretty much push like it is a qualifying lap on this lap to make it for his actual qualifying lap.
Now, it should be noted while we were chit-chatting, Falzaresi has been the only other driver to crack into the 150s. He's 0.6 of a second off of Jensen Randall's time, and he's currently on an outlap. I don't know that he's going to have enough time to get across the line. I can't see the clock. The last I saw it might have been 20-some-odd seconds, but we keep getting the caution flag in Sector 2. Looks like there's a car off in that area. So 10 seconds left to play. Now, if he can get across the line in the next 5 seconds, he'll be able to start a flying lap, but it's going to be close. And I don't think Falzaresi's going to get this.
Max Mulder able to get his only qualifying time up.
Indeed, yeah, Max Mulder was just about on time, and Nicola Falzaresi and Sandro Dulis just missed it there on the start finish line.
See who's on a timed lap or not. Nobody. Tim Bentic. Let's see. Free Abile is going to be locked in, it looks like. Oleski looks like he's on a flyer. He's in Sector 2. And now the checkered flag is falling on some drivers. So Falzaresi's locked in. Eric is locked in. Senna Haywire has retired from the session. He's going to be locked in at a 153.269, good enough for 15th so far. Riding along with Oleski. Lewis Marshall looks like he's done for the session. He's locked in at a 151.667, currently good enough for 6th. Oleski in Sector 2, and it looks like Oleski's invalidated his lap time. So he is going to be done. He's going to be locked in at a 151.590. Tim Ventic still on a flyer.
P11. Yeah, I was looking at people that were improving. Borbuna just improved his time by half a second. Just missed out on the top 10.
I think Noah Smith quietly getting a 150.5. We missed that one. I saw an earlier lap from Noah Smith. But you want to talk about a strong bit of form recently. The Haas driver. Currently P2, and I don't know that anyone's going to be able to improve their times enough to knock Noah Smith off the first row.
Yeah, great qualifying effort for the young driver. 155.23. Tim Ventic's going to come across the line. He improves his time, but not necessarily his position. And looks like we've got Ivan Brito. He's going to be invalidated his lap time. So Ivan Brito looks like he's going to be the last driver on track. Unfortunately, his time's invalidated, so he'll be locked in at the 152.667.
Yeah, Noah Smith still improved his lap time to 1 minute 50.3, so getting pretty close to that lap time from Jensen Randall. Very impressive from the Haas driver, but it's still Jensen Randall just about who has maintained the pole position there with 150.239.
Well, we'll see if we'll have rain during the race. It should make for something a little more interesting. I think the positions as drivers come into Kimmel is going to be fun to watch. DRS is such a big factor here.
Yeah.
It's almost a curse to be in first place with a close gap behind you on the penultimate lap.
Yeah, exactly. So Jensen Randall in pole position, very impressive lap from the English driver, from Noah Smith. Nicola Valtteri, Erik Elgersma in P4, very good stuff as well from the Red Bull. From the Frida Biele, Alexei Kovanemi, Lewis Marshall, Sander Dulles, Jägerstrom and Tim Venti completing the top 10. I always struggle to pronounce his actual name. From Jamie.
He says that we can just drop the G. So Jägerstrom's what I've been advised from the man himself.
Okay.
Close gaps between really like P4 and P10 there, all within a second of each other.
They're pretty close, especially for a wet qualifying session, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, Noah Smith had all sorts of pace. I know Jensen Randall makes it look easy, but today he had to work a little bit for the qualifying.
Definitely, yeah, it was definitely close behind him. This is interesting. Thought it was a full up, I thought I joined as a spectator. I'm quickly going to have to get myself out of here. Because it seems like I've been placed into a car, which is...
oh, interesting.
So maybe just lay back and retire the car?
Exactly. I should, because otherwise my car is going to stay on the track if I leave it, so I'm going to have to retire it. That's not ideal.
Taking on-track analyst to the extreme here.
Exactly. That would be pretty ridiculous. If I would be on track doing the commentary. Now, unfortunately, I am starting in last, so I think I should just be able to retire without interfering with anyone.
Well, we're going to do the formation lap. And Jensen Randall with another pole position. Looks like he is going to be starting on hard tires. He's going to be followed closely by Noah Smith. And this is going to be an open tire strategy. Is that correct, Nick? As they didn't have...
Yeah, of course. Yeah, every driver can whatever tires they like. All on fresh tires, of course. They will have multiple sets as well available still, because you don't use the sets of softs, of course, in quali. So everyone, even with late safety cars, will probably just keep pitting to fresh tires.
So Noah Smith starting in second. Nicolo Falzarezzi will be starting in the third position. Eric with a good qualifying effort for fourth. Frida Biele in the McLaren starting in the fifth position.
I'm going to go on board with our commentator comrade here in the Williams.
No, just ignore me. Just pretend I'm not there.
Oleski in the Aston Martin be starting in the sixth position. Lewis Marshall making another full-time return. He seems to do one at least once a year. Starting in the seventh position. Sandro Dulles, probably a little bit disappointed with himself, going to be starting in eighth, but he's had the most consistency of the midfield heading into this race. Jamie Jägerstrom starting in ninth. Tim Ventic, former champion himself, going to be starting in the 10th position. And I don't know who Boorboon is.
Yeah, Boorboon.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed the pronunciation, though. He's actually a good mate of Erik Elgersma. They're both working colleagues at the Race Planet, the local qualifying track in Amsterdam. So they're good mates of mine as well, so I'll be keeping an eye out on them. But yeah, it is pronounced like Boorboon.
Got Noah Rosso Abia in the Alpha in P12. Ivan Brito, of course, the Mercedes. So I'm always excited to see Ivan on the softs. I think he has good racecraft. He's got good awareness on the track, even though, we checked in with him earlier in the wet and saw him just take it straight into a wall. But Ivan, it's always good, clean, hard racing for a position where Ivan Brito is.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed watching Ivan Brito over the years. He's a very hit and miss driver, unfortunately. Seems like he has a lot of bad luck, but when he puts on a show, he puts on a really good one.
Yeah, and also it seems like this is going to be the last race of the season for Max Mulder starting in P14. Potentially even his last race in SRL, but he is saying that he's calling it today for this year. So hopefully he can have a solid race. The three Dutchies there in P14, 15 and 16 with Senna Herweyer and Dion Staal in the Ferrari.
And Robin Herstag and Sam Brandt.
And then, yeah, Lance, you take it away from here for race start.
We're going to give it a try. It's been a year since I've done it. Waiting on the 5 red lights. Lights out, time to run what you brung, and they're away in a puff of smoke. Great start for Noah Smith as he comes on the outside, and he's getting ahead of Jensen Randall as they head down into the hairpin. Can he hold that position? They're going to go side by side as they come out of the corner. And Nick Van Gelder has retired from the session, obviously. Noah Smith out in front of Jensen Randall as they head down to Eau Rouge and up towards Radion. Down the Kemmel Straight, we're going to hop on board with Jensen Randall, and he's going to have a slipstream coming down the Kemmel Straight, trying to hold off, and there's a battle behind him. Oh, and there's contact! Falzarezzi and Eric, and there's a virtual safety car already.
Yeah, there was an incident involving Senna Herway and Ivan Brito as well in turn 1. Senna Herway already out of the race, but a very good start from Noah Smith to get the run on Jensen Randall, and also a bit of contact with, I think it was Falzarezzi and Erik Elgersma, wasn't it?
Indeed, so
definitely took the worst of it. Looked close to going off track in Kimmel, lost a position, I believe.
And also some visual damage on the front wing of Falzarezzi in the Alfa Romeo. So he certainly has front wing damage, possibly Erik Elgersma as well, but it looks like his car is still pretty much intact. But yeah, definitely the biggest hit for Falzarezzi there, with quite a bit of front wing damage.
So a great jump at the start for Noah Smith. And that may be just the difference in medium tires to hard tires. And now we've got a full course caution, so it's full safety car. And Senna Haywire, unfortunately, with another DNF. And obviously Nick Van Gelder. Nick Van Gelder has a DNF, just for those that don't know, that he is serving his race ban. So he was not supposed to participate. So a little bit of a glitch in the matrix, but no big deal. Nick's going to be in the booth with us for the remainder of the race.
I like that, a glitch in the matrix. But yeah, just to ignore my name on the bottom there, obviously. Luckily I didn't cause any problems because I was able to just stay on the grid for a couple seconds.
And Falzarezzi has jumped into the pits. He's going to get that wing swapped out. Now Nick, should he stick with the hard tires and throw another hard set on there and go back to running plan A?
It doesn't look like he is. He's actually going on the soft tires. Wow, that's very from the Italian. So yeah, it was a good point. I mean, he could have just kind of restarted all my new set of hards, but he's opting to go soft.
And it looks like one of the Alpines came in. It might have been Max Mulder has come in. Nicola Falzarezzi, Dion Stahl looks like he picked up some damage as well.
So Lewis Marshall up into 6th place again, a couple of places. It's also his return to SRL as a full-time driver. So good to see the number 82 back there in P6, Lewis Marshall, the AlphaTauri.
And Ivan Brito is heading into the pits. He's got a flat left front, so he's had some damage somewhere. Oh, and he's missing his front wing.
Well, that'll certainly do it, but he goes from softs to hard, so I don't know that 20 laps, granted a couple of them under safety, is doable on the hards on such a long course, but everyone who's pitted early has gone a different direction.
Yeah, that is going to be a long stretch even on hard tires.
Yeah, it is. I mean, surely it's not possible to actually complete 21 laps on a set of hards around this track. It's going to be near on impossible, but let's see. Everybody will decide.
Oh, and Ivan Brito's retired from the session. So Ivan pitted for a new wing and a new set of tires and decided he didn't want to do this anymore, I guess.
Yeah, very interesting. It looked like he just retired in the pit lane. So that's a bit bizarre from Ivan Brito. Maybe he had a lot of damage to the floor of his car or to the rear wing or something like that. That's of course not repairable and can influence the car a lot, like driving rear wing damage or something like that is pretty awful. So maybe that caused him to make the decision to leave the race, but yeah, very unfortunate for the Portuguese driver.
So technically started with 19 cars, now down to 17, as we lost Ivan Brito and Senna Haywire in a first lap incident. Noah Smith took the lead at the jump from Jensen Randall. Lewis Marshall moved up a couple of spots into 6th. And Sam Brandt in his return as well, up to 13th position.
I think it's always interesting. You see some of these drivers, I think, choose to go with a soft compound early, kind of banking on a gamble that has paid off in the recent rounds, which is an early safety car. This one certainly earlier than maybe we've seen since Australia. But, you know, I see Jensen Randall, he likes to go for a long first stint, and you can't knock the results from Jensen Randall, but I would always see other drivers like Logan Oren go soft early and kind of bank on something like this happening, getting positions early on and then being able to get a kind of a reduced pit stop. So I'll be curious to see if there's more safety cars. When does Jensen kind of adapt the plan? I think he's on a different race than Noah Smith right now, who got that early lead.
Well, I think a lot of that too is probably going to come down to if and how long Jensen actually gets stuck behind Noah Smith. Could alter the way he wants to run his tire strategy.
We've certainly seen Jensen work well with other drivers near the top of the grid, especially early on in a race. You know, he'll work together to increase their gap from the drivers behind them, change positions, manage that ERS. I think he and Noah Smith could do that if they find themselves pulling ahead. But it's going to be hard when he's on the hard compound and Noah Smith on the mediums.
And there's a couple of fast drivers behind them. I mean, Eric, impressive qualifying effort, good start. Prix Abile, very quick, very talented. And obviously, Oleski's been here with SRL for a number of years, so he's put on a number of podiums and a number of wins, so he's definitely very fast as well. And Lewis Marshall, we'll see if he can knock the rust off and maybe move his way up from 6th. And finally getting race control to tell us that the safety car will be in this lap.
Yeah, 4 miles never felt so long as it has on these safety car laps.
Yeah, it looks like everyone on mediums and hards are just looking to do a one-stop from this point, but I think maybe the drivers that pitted for softs are basically just counting on a second safety car, or maybe they generally think a 2-stop from here on in is going to be quicker, but of course there's quite a good chance that this isn't the last safety car we've seen today.
So Noah Smith will be the control car, and we will see when he decides to go as they head up towards the bus stop chicane.
Looking a little overcast there as Noah Smith on board with him, so I wonder if there's rain underway.
Definitely clouds in the sky, a little hazy in the background. Noah Smith gets the jump. We're back on our green flag racing. Gaps Jensen Randall just a little bit as they head into the first corner. I'm going to hop on board with Jensen Randall and see if we can get more than one lap in as they head downhill towards Eau Rouge and up Radion. And onto the Kemmel Straight. No DRS available just yet, but Jensen's going to try and use the slipstream. Here comes Eric, though. Eric's got a great slipstream. And it's a 3-car battle for first place. Eric all over the back of Jensen Randall. Randall all over the back of Noah Smith.
Yeah, Eric decided to think better of it. Also very close further back with Jagerstrom, Cedar Julius, and Noel very closely together. Tim Smith following, Tim Menting, sorry, following him as well in P10. A couple of position changes further back. Nicola Valsaresi up into P13. Very close to the McLaren of Robin Hersendagen. He just dispatched Vincenzo Torre as well in the Mercedes. So quite a lot going on here after this restart. Oh, Valsaresi there up the inside. Oh, full there. Oh, a bit of contact on the exit as well. Great racing here on the restart, but the McLaren of Hersendagen has got the inside line as we go into the final sector here. Valsaresi still trying to hang it on the inside, but just about can't get the position for now.
Yeah, wow, did Robin Hersendagen take that line just very defensively around turn 13.
And Herterstegen is holding off Valsaresi. Valsaresi, the faster driver on the faster tires. And he's finally going to go around the outside. And it looks like he's going to bring Sam Brandt with him. No, that's not Sam. Who's in the Mercedes?
That's going to be Vincenzo Torre, the Italian.
Oh, that's right. I'm used to seeing him in the Sauber. That's my bad. Alfa Romeo. Oh, and there's a 3-car battle going on back there.
Looks like Dion Stahl, a little contact with Sam Brandt.
Meanwhile, Jägerstrom and Lewis Marshall battling it out. It looks like Jägerstrom got ahead of Lewis Marshall for the 6th position. And Jensen Randall closing in on Noah Smith at the top of Radion. Down the Camel straight, and he's going to dive to the outside. Eric's going to try and come with him as he gets the double slipstream. And they split him like Mika Hakkinen and Michael Schumacher.
Oh, great run for Eric there out the inside into 2nd place. So Jensen Randall now leading the way from Erik Elgersma and Noah Smith there. Who Eric really capitalized on the momentum he had coming over Radion there as Noah Smith tries to hang it on the outside. That's not going to work through there.
Jensen's looked so much better on the brakes coming into the home too. It seems like the last lap, even though he's got a tire disadvantage, he really made time up on Noah Smith, and this time he gets the overtake to stay, and he's already got that gap of 7/10.
And that's all Jensen needed was a little bit of clean air, and he is off to the races. So really we're watching the battle for second, which is going to be the one to watch, as Jensen, as you said, already 7/10 of a second up.
Also, some fun games going on for P15. Sam Brent just managed to get through.
Uh-oh, looks like Lewis Marshall's had an issue.
Yeah, Lewis Marshall's
Oh, he's in the gravel.
And he has dropped all the way back down to last place, P17. Fortunately, can continue his way.
So no damage for Lewis Marshall, but he probably, judging from that area, probably got punted. We'll jump back to the lead battle. DRS is now enabled, so things are really going to shake up here as they head up to the top of Radion and down the Kemmel Straight.
And clearly, around Blanchimont, it's El Herzma who was able to really close that gap. And now, look at the slipstream. He's got tire advantage, and he's going to have DRS.
He actually had to lift off there almost to not get into the back of the Aston Martin as he pulls to the outside here on the Kemmel Straight. Can't do anything into the braking zone.
And he's got the DRS advantage as he tries to get around Jensen Randall. He's going to take the lead. Battle for third behind him, Friab Bile. Battling with Noah Smith, and Friab trying to run side by side there through the S's, and that's not going to work. He dives to the inside.
Always Friab in a Haas. Always Friab in a Haas on track.
And caution flag flies sector 2. Looks like that's Nicolo Falzarezzi or possibly Dion Stahl. And the safety car is out. Who has gone around?
Yeah,
and
like,
Falzarezzi is missing his front wing again.
Again.
Let's find Dion Stahl. Dion Stahl, no damage done to his car, but he definitely dropped a couple of spots. So Falzarezzi with his second on-track altercation today. And our second safety car.
Yes, this front wing damage for Nicolo much more obvious and severe than last time.
So 6 laps in. Nick, you're the driver analyst. What do you do from a tire standpoint and position standpoint?
Good question. I think maybe the drivers on mediums and hards are going to prefer the track position. And just for that, we'll see, because they're now coming through the bus of chicane. I guess they're just going to stay out. Yes, they are. Oh, actually, Jensen Randall he comes in. So he's trying to do the undercut on the rest of the field. Also, Noah Smith follows him into the pit lane. So Erik Elgersma has decided to stay out, but it looks like a lot of drivers coming into the pits. Let's see. They're probably going to go, like, I guess the medium runners are going to go to hards, so just go to the end. Maybe the medium runners, or sorry, the hard runners are going to try to stretch on mediums, like Jensen Randall. He is going on mediums, that's going to be near on impossible. I think he's committing himself to a 2-stop now, as the Aston Martin's double stack as well, but lots of drivers into the pit lane. Very interesting that Erik Elgersma has decided to stay out.
So there is only a handful of drivers that decided to stay out in the midst of all that.
Yeah, it's puzzling, because maybe from this lap onwards, going to a set of hards is potentially possible, although it is of course a long stretch. But I think as a medium runner, maybe it's better to take the risk to go to the hards. But of course on the mediums, or already having started on the hard tires, it's a little bit more difficult, because you can't stretch on a set of mediums from here on in. I wouldn't believe so. Yeah, interesting strategies going on, and also with Jensen Randall now on a set of medium tires. Let's see what he will do and when he will pit again.
So, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw Eric and Friab, and I think only Max Mulder were the only ones that stayed out.
Yeah, correct.
Robin Hertstadhagen also out there on 6-lap old mediums.
As is Dion Stahl, who started on the hards.
But
okay.
I think, I wonder if a driver like Ellersma and Freya Belay, if they want to stay ahead of the pack, stay out of where all the action's been, because
the strategy mastermind is the first driver out on fresh tires running third.
Yeah,
I feel another safety car. I'll just say that. I feel another safety car. I'm kind of with Eric and Freya up here.
Yeah, because yeah, indeed, if there's going to be another safety car, like at least they're now out of trouble. They still have track position and they can still get another stop if there's a third one. I wonder if Jensen Rendell made a decision and that maybe everybody behind him sort of reacted to him, possibly followed him into the pits. I don't know if maybe someone like Eric was called out by that and was expecting Jensen to also stay out.
If I was a driver and the points leader decided to pit, I'm probably going to pit.
Yeah, because it looked like everybody behind him just decided to follow him in. I really wonder if Eric Elgersma planned this, or if he was expecting this to happen, or if he's thinking like, maybe I'm called out there. But maybe he knows what he's doing. I'm gonna go for the latter.
So it looks like we're going to probably circulate at least one more lap under the safety car, second one of the day. And it has been quite the shakeup just from the get-go. Eric has worked his way back up into first. Actually, I shouldn't say it back up into first. Has worked his way into first. Brought Free Abile with him up into second. Jensen Randall started on pole. Lost position early to Noah Smith. And Max Mulder in his final SRL race, for the time being, running in fourth position. Noah Smith has dropped to fifth through the pit sequence. Dion Stahl stayed out on track, moves up into sixth. Robin Herderstagen stayed out on track, works his way up to seventh. Oleski in eighth. Jamie Jägerstrom is ninth. And Sandro Dulius running a quiet race in 10th.
Yeah, interestingly, also Nicola Falzesi decided to come in again. He didn't have any further damage, but he decided to ditch his hards and go back to the medium tire. Because he was running a last anyway, so he was able to get a free stop. But he is, interestingly enough, preferring to be on the mediums and on the hards at the moment.
I think that's probably one of Falzaresi's worst characteristics, is that he has a tendency to be very aggressive when he's deep in the pack trying to make up time. And I think that may have been what was his downfall in this scenario. Willing to bet he probably, not on purpose, but probably caused the safety car. When you lose front wing like that, it's usually because you've rear-ended somebody quite aggressively.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be very keen to make up for that, being back into P17. And maybe that's indeed why he decides to go for the softer compound.
So a couple of guys I didn't think I would see this deep in the field. Tim Ventic, former champion, running in 13th. Sam Brandt has just crashed into the wall. I just picked that up.
Car.
What is that about?
Well, welcome back to SRL, Samuel Brandt.
Okay, so I was going to say I didn't expect to see, and the safety car's in this lap.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the safety car has decided it's not a big deal. We'll keep going.
So did Seb just lose it on his own, or did he get tagged?
I only picked up the tail end. I don't know. I'm not going to lie. He might have just did that on purpose. It's kind of how it looked. He was going awfully fast in an awfully so slow section.
Okay, very interesting. Anyway, getting ready for the restart. It's Erik Elgersma leading the way. He can control the pace. So let's see where he will decide to go. He's slowing up a lot coming through Bonchman here. It's going to be crucial for him to get the run, to get those guys out of his slipstream as they come up to the Camel Straight.
Meanwhile, Nicolo just assessed a 5-second penalty for a collision with Lewis Marshall in front of him. Does Nico have damage again after that, I wonder?
Wow, this is turning out to be quite the race, and Eric is now trying to separate himself as he gets on the gas.
Race has been restarted. Let's see what happens when we come up the hill through Radion and Eau Rouge. Erik Elgersma with a slight look up there, still manages to get the apex, but Free Relay is right behind him in that McLaren.
And it's a three-car breakaway as they head downhill into Eau Rouge.
Meanwhile, wheel to wheel just behind them, Max Mulder and Dion Stahl.
Oh, and Max Mulder runs wide, got arrow wash coming off of Noah Smith's car, almost binned it.
Meanwhile, Free Belay making move for the lead. It's nearly 3 wide with Jensen Randall just in behind them as well. Side by side. Oh, a bit of a moment for Belay. He cuts the corner and goes back up the inside into the lead. They're still side by side. Jensen Randall just waiting to pick up the pieces, but Eric's back into the lead here.
Oh,
my God,
look at this.
Brussels.
Jensen Randall with the 2-for-1 deal heading into the corner and picks up the lead of the race.
Amazing stuff there.
It's just...
Also, a lot of chaos. But back there's a bit of an incident there coming through the corner of no name. Bob Bune managed to take advantage of that into P10. Robin Hersenhagen in P12 in front of Lewis Marshall. Very chaotic restart.
Marshall gets a run wide, and he's got cars coming up his rear. Here comes Vincenzo Torri now, trying to get to the inside of Noah, or Noel, I should say.
Mexico man also got through on Dion Stahl. Yeah. Jamie Jägerström also. Oh, Dion Stahl's lost it! Coming out of the corner there into the second sector. He's into the wall, luckily still in the race.
Uh-oh, is the car beached?
No, it's
drivable.
drivable.
Looks like it is.
It's
no,
beached?
It looks like he's stuck.
Yeah, he's got the revs in reverse.
Yeah,
okay, we're moving.
Oh. He just got some traction, and did he just reset himself to the track?
I don't know if he did actually, it was hard to see that. But he can fortunately continue on his way after being beached for a second there in the grass as we open up lap 10.
Noah Smith, fresher tires coming into Radion, trying to get the overtake done on Max Mulder. Max Mulder going defensive.
Oh, and here comes, look at this! Oleski trying to get a 2-for-1 through a Rouge of all places.
Look at these 3 wide down.
Oh my goodness, Noah Smith is mowing the grass, trying to get the pass done.
Well, thank goodness we have 3 commentators because there is action up and down the grid.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up even with 3 guys in the booth.
Oh, and Noah Smith tries to get to the inside. Very deep into the corner. They're side by side as they come out of it. This is Jägerström behind this battle, and now Jägerström's going to try and do a 2-for-1.
Oh, Max Mulder up the inside of Paul.
Oh, and there's contact! Oh, and he's lost it! Somehow Sandro...
He's so dangerous there on the outside.
Oh, my God.
Some wing damage to Max Mulder, but drivable.
How Sandro avoided that, I will never know.
They
we'll get the onboards.
Outside, didn't they? Yeah, that was crazy how everyone managed to avoid Max on the outside of Pool. That's one of the worst places to be in.
And a third safety car of the race. This has been unbelievable. Oh, and somebody's got wing damage. This is Dion Stahl. Looks like he's missing his front wing completely. That's probably from his off-course altercation with the wall.
Jensen is going into the pits.
Yeah, so do Free Belay and Erik Elgersma all following each other into it, so they can all get this free pit stop now. We're well cheap pits, so they are going to lose a couple places.
So this is going to move Oleski up into the lead, who pitted last safety car. We're only halfway through this race, fellas.
We're
like
in about half
for very long.
Yeah, we've had about 25 miles just under safety car. This is something that Koivuniemi has done before, where on a safety car, he stays out, and everyone else behind him seems to pit. He gains quite a few positions, but we've seen the tires drop off for him doing this before.
Well, I think the interesting thing in this scenario is that this safety car, he is the only driver to have stayed out. Everybody else pitted.
But again, you know, if you had these drivers like Elgersma and Belay who were banking perhaps on another safety car, that paid off. So they gained a lot of positions not pitting on the last safety car. Now they come out, Freya Belay, 3rd place with softs. So I think Freyab's saying he's going to take these softs all the way to the end, or maybe hoping for another safety car for a shootout in the last couple laps.
Well, that was going to be my question for Nick. How long do you think you can get those softs to last? Because you see Belay and Jägerström have both put on soft tires. They're the only drivers on the soft tires.
Yeah, interesting. I think those softs don't really last that long. I guess about 6-7 laps, something like that. So, yeah, they're going very aggressive. It might not be too bad for Alexei Koivuniemi having stayed out mediums, because his mediums are only 4 laps old. So his tires aren't that much older to the rest of the field. So I can get why he decided to prefer being in the lead on slightly more worn tires. But it's an Aston Martin 1-2, or 1-2-3 almost with the safety car, nicely joining them as well. But Interesting for Alexei Kovenemi, but I think it's not that bad of a call for him, since his tires are still relatively fresh.
So Oleski takes the lead under the pit sequence. He's the only driver who did not pit under the third safety car. Jensen Randall, your championship points leader, who's been battling first, second, and third all day, currently back into second place. Freya Billet is up into third. Eric, who's also been battling up in the top three as well, running in fourth. Noah Smith, who had the lead early, started second, got the lead heading into the first corner, down in the fifth. And Bo Borbune is running sixth.
Yeah, it's like his name is just a second bit.
The American in me just wants to call him Bourbon.
Yeah, but indeed, he's already in sixth, so he made up a lot of positions in the pit stop phase, despite having pitted as well. So good to see him up into sixth place in front of Sonodulis.
And Sandra, running seventh, somehow managed to miss Max Mulder's car sitting in the middle of the corner. Tim Ventic is up into eighth. Vincenzo Torri running ninth, and Robert Herderstagen rounding out your top 10 points-paying positions.
Oh, and the Alpha Tower of Lewis Marshall has spotted coming out of the first corner. I think he might have picked up a little bit of front wing damage. I don't know if he lost it on himself, but it looked like there was a bit of scruffing going on.
You're right,
reason.
the right side of the front wing looks like he's got damage, so I guess another pit stop for Lewis Marshall.
Yeah. It's going to be very annoying for Lewis Marshall. That was a bit weird there, because some of the drivers were a bit too close for being on the safety car phase.
I'm going to stay on Lewis just for a moment to see if there's any type of retaliatory action, but it looks like he's staying calm in this scenario. But yeah, right front end plate gone for Lewis Marshall as he makes his return to full-time racing again.
It's like pro wrestling, right? No one ever really retires from SRL.
They all come back at least once.
Yeah. I'm excited for Freya Belai going to the softs. He's always been a driver who's trying to push it as far as he can. Sometimes he pushes it too far, but he's looking for a race win. He's had the podium so many times. I think I'm kind of unabashedly a fan of Freya Belai. I'm always rooting for him to finally get that race victory.
Well, you know, he made a great... When he came upon the league, it was an amazing run of top five finishes that he had, and we all thought for sure that he would easily get a win at some point. And the mere fact that he hasn't gotten that maiden win is extremely surprising to me, because he's fast, he's skillful, he's a good, clean driver, he's got all of the makings. He just, for whatever reason, hasn't been able to ever put it together completely to get that race win.
There's something about the McLaren livery and stories like that, I guess.
Even in real life, isn't it?
The old papaya orange.
To win a race, Prix. Yeah, like you said, he has been there, he's been close, he's quick, he's got everything he needs really to win a race. It's just that last bit of luck that he needs to actually achieve it. Same for Eric Elgsma, I think, as well. He got his first podium in his home round at Zandvoort, and he's always very close or in the leading group. Just hasn't managed to keep it together for him.
So the safety car is in. So Oleski, Jensen, Randall, Freya Billet, and Bourbon are going to be running 1, 2, 3, 4.
Interestingly, Bob Buna already got through, he has to let through that position because he was already up to P4 before the safety car restart line, but it looks like he is not actually giving it up to Eric Elgsma. He goes up the inside, back into La Source there, and he also opens the door for Noah Smith to get through. Maybe that was to let them go back through, because I believe he was in 6th place before the safety car restart. As we go up Arus and Redion, after this restart here with Alexei Kovenemi still leading the way. Let's see how long he can keep his teammate behind him.
And then Jensen Randall's going to have the slipstream. No DRS as of yet, but he's got a great run coming down the Kemmel Straight. They go side by side. He's going to pick up the inside line. And Jensen Randall back out in front once again.
Yeah, the answer was not very long. But the back, Tim Venting also, who has gone through on Sonodulis, now down to P8. So also these drivers still very close to each other after the safety car restart. And Nicola Paz Racy, he is going to be keen to make up as many positions as possible here on the restart, being on the medium tires as well, already up to P11.
And Noah Smith is working on the backside of the Red Bull of Eric, trying to pick up that 4th position. Borbune is back down into 6th. Tim Ventic with the time penalty. He's got Sandro Julius all over the back of him. Vincenzo Torri running in 9th, and Jamie Jägerstrom is getting under threat here from Falzarezzi as Falzarezzi swings around the outside, takes the 10th position away from Jamie Jägerstrom.
Jensen Randall already a 2.5 on Koivuniemi. So no DRS. I mean, we're still a lap away from DRS, but Jensen is really pushing here on the safety car restart.
Meanwhile, Noah Smith still working on the back of Eric, trying to see if he can get a run down into the bus stop chicane. He's not going to be close enough to make a move this time by. Ooh, and there's almost contact between the two. And Jensen Randall run the fastest lap of the race, a 1:43.4. And Jägerstrom is retired.
Yes, he dipped into the pits in a very quick retirement as soon as he got to the pits, so not sure what happened for Jägerstrom.
Jägerstrom did not make the corner, unfortunately. That's a very hard left-hander heading into the pits. Yeah. And he probably binned it heading in there too quickly. Meanwhile, Noah Smith and Eric battling for this 4th position. Eric is all over the back of him as we hop on board. Oh, and they almost touch.
I'm impressed that Noah Smith kept the position through Kemmel. That's usually
and right behind them, they're side by side. That's Tim Ventic and Borbune battling side by side. And now it's a 3-car battle. Here comes Sandro Julius on the outside.
Tim Ventic just can't separate himself from these battles.
Sandro's going to get to the inside of Borbune, pick up the 7th position, and now he's going to set his sights on Tim Ventic.
Oh, Nicolas Valsation out the inside. If pull on there, Borbune losing like 3 places in about as many corners. Nicolas Valsation up to P8. Borbune dropping back a little bit there. He was being picked up there by a couple drivers, and maybe that rattled his cage a little bit. And also Nicolas Valsation is going to be quick on those mediums to get back to the field.
That is a tough restart for Borbune as he restarted 4th and is now back to 9th.
I do think Nicolo Anpuan went a little wide, so I don't know what the track limits warnings are at for him, but I think definitely the outside of Puan, it looked like all 4 tires over track limits.
Meanwhile, Freyad Bile has caught the back of Oleski.
Yeah, sorry to butt in there, but Dulis just dives up the inside into the bus of chicane of Tim Ventic. They're now side by side coming up through La Source as they start lap 15. Dulis up the inside.
Oh, look at Ventic try and run the outside, and it's going to be 4 wide. Woo, that's a lot of cars in a little bit of area. So Sandro's going to have the slipstream as they head through Eau Rouge, and DRS is going to be enabled. We got a 5-car battle for the 6th place. And
so easy for Nicolo.
And Falzarezzi is going to give a shoulder check to Sandro. Sandro's got to cut the corner.
Oh, Borbune capitalizes on that straight away.
Sandro almost pushed into the gravel.
Vincenzo Torres somehow finds himself in the middle of all this.
Ventic also back up into 7th place, dispatches his competitor down to P8, and Dulis all the way back to P10, had to take avoiding maneuvers there into Camel to avoid getting hit by the drivers on his inside. So yeah, great for Nicolas Valsation, back up into 6th place. Also Freyad Bile managed to get past on Alexei Koivuniemi on the Camel straight as well into 2nd place.
And Noah Smith now all over the back of Oleski for the 3rd position. Oleski lost that 2nd position to Freyad while we were watching that battle with Sandro, and now he's getting ready to lose another one. Here comes Noah Smith to the outside. Great run out of that corner, and he's going to take the position before they even get to the bus stop chicane.
Yeah, it looks like Alexei Koivuniemi is really fading, also having those tires that has been on for a bit longer than the drivers around him. So, and he's actually going into the pit lane.
So surprisingly, 4 laps on those mediums has cost him a number of positions. So I didn't think it would be that bad, but that's why I'm a commentator and not a driver.
Yeah, it's an interesting strategy from Alexei. I always appreciate he's willing to take risks no one else is, but I think we saw something very similar in the Hungarian Grand Prix where Alexei stayed out and the tires just fell off quickly.
So we've got a 4-car battle for 7th. Actually, yeah, I guess that would be a 6th.
Yeah, Tim Ventic, I guess, still part of it as they go up through the Camel straight into Lake Holm.
Whoa, and he's going to get split. Oh, and Sandra's going to dive to the inside at the end of the Camel straight. Great move by Sandra to pick that spot back up.
Also, Max Monte came through on Dion Staal into that same corner into Lake Holm, managed to outbrake Dion Staal back up into the points.
And Tim Bentic has that time penalty hanging over his head as well. So right now he would still finish in the 9th position. I believe it's a 3-second time penalty, right?
3-second time penalty for Tim Benting.
And Borbune trying to find a way around Vincenzo Torri.
Yeah, again, Vincenzo kind of quietly up into P6. Through all the battling we've seen among these cars, it's Vincenzo out ahead. And this would be a great result from Vincenzo. Maybe it's one of the best results of the season for him if he can maintain this.
Well, Borbune might be looking to make a move as they head down into the bus stop chicane. Vincenzo's going to take the defensive line.
He's still biding his time for now. I think he might be waiting for the DRS. Borbune with a very distinctive green helmet in the AlphaTauri. He's nicknamed the Frog as well, so that's why he's got a bright green helmet. Fortunately, no helmet customization yet in F1 yet, but he's going to have DRS here as they go up towards Rouge and Radion for the 17th time of asking. Let's see if he can make a move on the Mercedes in front of him.
He's a little bit further back. He lost a lot of ground coming out of the first corner here.
Yeah, I almost wonder if he upshifted into Radion. I wonder if maybe he lost a little bit of power going into 8th instead of keeping it in 7th like Vincenzo had done.
And also a battle for P12, Alexi Kovenemi on those fresher tires, winning his way through on Noel, Robin Herstagen as well, very close. And Dion Staal still battling it out with Max Mulder for that final point. They are side by side, come up towards the corner where Max Mulder has got the 10th place back on Dion Staal. I think that's the corner with no name, isn't it? As also Alexi Kovenemi is being able to benefit from that. He's going to be a lot quicker than them on those fresh of tires. He's already alongside Dion Staal as they head up towards Poole.
Yeah, Koivuniemi on sauce.
Ooh, there's contact almost. Woo!
Dion Staal just about cutting across the nose of Alexi Kovenemi. Might be on fast tires, but Dion is not going to make it easy for him.
I think we've seen a lot of kind of impatience with the softer compound runners, especially the pacey ones like Koivuniemi and Falzaresi. Coming around Blanchimont here, it's going to be a great overtaking opportunity, but you don't really have that coming out of Poulan.
And this 4-car battle for the 6th position continues on. Borbune trying to get around Vincenzo Torri, Sandro trying to get around Borbune, and Tim Bentic trying to get all them spots back because he was a little bit higher up just a few laps ago. Working lap 18 of 22 as they head down into the first corner. Now you're going to have this 4-car battle. Vincenzo is going to be a sitting duck because he's not going to have DRS while the other 3 cars are going to have it.
Meanwhile, a little higher up, I think Noah Smith is about to take P2 from Preob on Kemmel. Nice and easy. 7-lap-old softs for Preob. I think they're starting to drop off.
And here comes Borbune on the inside of Vincenzo Torri. And Borbune is going to take that position. Sandro's going to try and do a crossover move to try and get that spot, but he's not going to be able to do it. Whoa, and a big wiggle for Tim Bentic coming out of that corner.
And Dion Staal and Max Mulder still also fighting it out. They've been chopping positions quite often over this last couple of laps. Still back up into P11, but Alexi Kovenemi has found his way through on both of them, so he has now escaped into P10. So this is going to be the battle for P11 for now, as Max Mulder had a bit of a look up the inside there of Dion Staal to Bruxelles, but decides still, oh, Max Mulder has lost it. He's lost it and he's into the wall, but he still has his car intact. Not a lot of damage luckily for Max, but he's lost a couple places.
Meanwhile, Tim Bentic picked up another 3-second time penalty, battling it out for the 8th position with Sandro Dulius. We've got a caution flag flying in Sector 2.
That is Lewis Marshall.
Yeah, it looks like he just dropped it on his own.
So Lewis Marshall not having a great comeback either. So some of these strong drivers that we've had in years past, certainly not shaking off the rust here at Spa. Sam Brandt bended under caution. See, Lewis Marshall's dropped it by his lonesome. I think that's the second time he's spun. 3-second time penalty for Lewis now trying to get back on track.
I'm going to check in with Jensen Randall here just so everybody's still aware. Jensen Randall is in this race. He's got 6 seconds on Noah Smith in P2, so I think nice and easy for the points leader at this point.
Although Drew Bailey is still within striking distance of Noah Smith for that second place. Eric Elgersma just dropping up a little bit in P4, number 25. False Racy being in a bit of an isolated P5 at the moment, but still a fight going on for P6. Borbune being passed on the outside by Vincenzo Torres, side by side with the late
Oh, and here comes Sandro. Sandro's looking to make a move to try and get a 2-for-1 deal. A lot of guys have been getting that sale this week, but here comes Tim Ventic on the outside. He's going to go deep into the corner. He's going to lose it. Sandro's going to pick up a spot. Actually, he's going to save his spot. Still running in the 8th position. Still trying to find a way around Vincenzo Torre.
Yeah, Borbune doing well to defend.
He and he picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Oh, that's going to be crucial.
That track limit on Pouillon has been catching a lot of drivers, especially these drivers battling.
And that is going to... Oh, and Tim Ventic! Another big wiggle coming out of that corner. He's having some issues with those rear tires.
Yeah, I also saw that there's been a bit of confusion here because we have 2 number 25s in the race. It's actually Eric Elgersma has got the actual number 25, but Borbune's preferred number is 25 as well. But just happened to join SRL a bit later than Eric, so he's actually supposed to sport the number 94. As he's also a big Wehrlein fan, is Borbune, but don't the same numbers. Borbune is actually supposed to have the 95 as Vincenzo Torre loses a bit of traction there and is now under pressure from Sander Dulis on the outside of La Source. I think Dulis will just give him the corner there to wait for the DRS. He actually tries to hang it on the outside. They're going to be side by side going up to Redion.
Oh, and you can't go side by side through Eau Rouge. It never works. Vincenzo's going to give up the position to Sandro. And I just saw a 3-second time penalty, I think, for Falzarezzi. Max Mulder picks up a 3-second time penalty. Here comes Tim Ventic. Vincenzo Torre, they're going to split him like he's lap traffic. And Tim Ventic's got that 3-second time penalty hanging over his head, so he's essentially really not a part of this battle at this point.
There's been so much battling wheel-to-wheel contact that some of these track limits violations could be appealed and removed. But yeah, for right now, if you're Borbune and you know that's going to stick, you just want to finish this race.
And it looks like he's really pushing to try and separate himself. It's 1.4 seconds now behind him to Vincenzo Torre. So Brune really trying to pull the plug here and just escape from that group behind him to try and compensate for the 3-second time penalty.
Well, interestingly enough, I think Falzarezzi has more than one penalty as well. So he's even would be catching 5th position if he could get in there. Possibly cut that time down. He might be able to pick up an extra spot towards the end of this race, given the time penalties that are going to be handed out.
Yeah, it's definitely going to shake things up for sure at the end of the race.
So Jensen Randall has come around La Source for the penultimate lap. No Smith comfortably in P2 right now. I think Freya Belay with the softs, a podium finish in the cards for him, but I don't see a position to be gained there.
And Vincenzo Torre just picked up a 3-second time penalty. He lost the back end coming out of the bus stop chicane. So Sandro, he's the only driver in this battle we got going on that doesn't have a time penalty currently, so he could pick up potentially a couple of spots.
And also, Falzarezzi is slowly catching up to Erik Elgersma in 4th place. Erik on the hard tires, Falzarezzi on the mediums, both the same age, although I think Falzarezzi was slightly quicker last time around.
And Sandro's going to easily make that pass down the Kemmel Straight, and he's going to move into the 7th position. He can now set his sights on Borbune, who again has that 3-second time penalty hanging over his head. So that would be another position gain for Sandro Dulius. And Sam Brandt has officially left the session, even though he wrecked quite some time ago.
What a race for Vincenzo Torre. I mean, he binned it in qualifying. As you remember, he started in the back row, and he finds himself in quite a battle here for some very good points. So a great drive for Vincenzo Torre.
Yeah, it definitely is. Very solid drive from him. Yeah, Dulis is looking good there in P7 with those 2 drivers in front of him who has got a time penalty. And Erik Elgersma, he is also just within a second of Freya Belay in P3.
Jensen Randall has started the final lap here at Spa. It's been an easy day at the office for him, like it so often is.
Jensen Randall, 90-point lead coming into this race over Logan Arand, and Logan, who is out of the season for the foreseeable future, just seeing pending on whether he wants to come back or not.
It's been a really good penultimate lap from Erik Elgersma. He's managed to pull away from Nicola Valsquez again, and he's closed up to Free Abile. He's going to have to DRS here on the Kebbel Straight, so Erik Elgersma still in by the shot of the podium. He's going to try to go to the outside here. Free Abile defends the inside, and he's
what an easy
through.
overtake.
And Oleski just made a move on Tim Ventic and trying to get around Vincenzo Torri to pick up a couple of spots here at the end of this race. And Free Abile just picked up a 3-second time penalty. So Oleski moves into 8th.
Not sure where Freyab got that penalty coming around Lacombe and into Brussels. It didn't seem like anything stuck out. He wasn't really battling with Elgersma there.
Yeah, but that's just basically confirmed Erik Elgersma on the podium. But it's very good pace for him at the end of the race. He's still in the low 56s, and he's able to close that gap pretty quickly as Tim Ventic also picks up another 3-second time penalty.
Oh, and Borbune almost lost the back end of the car trying to stick with Sandro Dulius through that downhill left-hander.
Well, coming around Blanchemont into the bus stop chicane, it's Jensen Randall and the Aston Martin. Really never under threat. We had a few different race leaders, but Jensen, the last turn underway, he's going to cross, start, finish. Points leader extending the lead. We'll have a countdown clock for when he gets confirmed championship. We'll go back to Borbune where the action is.
And Noah Smith's going to come across the line for the second spot. Eric's going to pick up the 3rd place. Free Abile 4th. Falzaresi makes his way back into 5th after everything that he's been through today. Sandro Dulius able to hold off Borbune for the 6th position. And it looks like Oleski's going to pick up an extra spot because of Borbune's time penalty, so he'll be 7th. Vincenzo Torri 9th. Tim Ventic is 10th. And that is going to be obviously your unofficial results. Rough day for Dion Stoll.
For Max Mulder as he comes around to the bus stop. He won the 1v1 race on the new year as he does a little, we'll call it a celebratory donut.
He doesn't care anymore. They can give him penalty points.
What are you going to do? You're going to penalize someone who's not going to race again?
I don't think Sandro Dulius is going to like this, but Max Mulder giving us a bit of a show here at the end of his SRL career.
So we last saw these at Silverstone as he won the 1v1 knockout bracket. Max Mulder, always fun to watch, always fun to hear. Every week he says, this is the one I'm going to win. So thank you to Max Mulder. He's really taking his time.
Yeah, definitely. Max Mulder really matured himself nice as an SRL driver. Also over in the other championship we have. Like you said, the 1v1, he of course won that as he defeated me in the final. And also in the GT3 series, a double GT3 champion, Le Mans 4-hour winner. Definitely a good CV for Max Mulder as he ends his SRL career here, at least for the F1 championship in Spa with P14. But Jensen Randall, who can stop him? Another victory for the Aston Martin driver. And definitely already has one hand on the championship trophy.
So Vincenzo Torri gets the in-game driver of the day, but remember you guys can go over to the SRL Instagram page and vote for your driver of the day. The link is in the description below.
Who would you two have for your driver of the day?
Oh, hard to say. I mean, a lot of people would probably vote for Jensen, but given it's just too easy for him, I would probably have to go with Noah Smith or even Eric.
I think Noah Smith had a great race. Okay.
I might be slightly biased because I know Eric very well.
Because you are the Red Bull driver as well?
Also, yeah, of course, he is standing in for myself. Or, well, Jurgen Husic as well, like Sam Brandt, because Jurgen has also retired from SRL, unfortunately. So a big change up in the Red Bull team, but we're a very good race from Erik Elgersma, getting his 2nd podium in SRL after he clinched his 1st one at Zandvoort. So good to see him back in the top 3.
So unofficial results for today's race. Jensen Randall with the win. Noah Smith 2nd. Eric 3rd. Free Abile is 4th. Nicolo Falzaresi 5th. Sandro Dulius 6th. Oleski 7th. Borbune is 8th. Vincenzo Torri 9th. And Tim Ventic rounding out your top 10 points-paying positions for today's Grand Prix.
Well, we had quite a few safety cars today, but what if I told you round 17 next week is at Monza? So, hey, we could probably get through that without any safety cars, you guys think?
Sure, nothing ever happens on lap 1, turn 1.
We'll sign off here, but join us for round 17 at Monza next week. I'm Brian Kessler, and it was a fun 3-man booth, gentlemen. I'll let you sign off.
And I am Kamikaze Fox, a.k.a. Lance. This has been SRL Season 9, F1 2023 on the PlayStation platform. And we will see you guys in the next round.